everybody, Jefferson Webster here. I was recently cataloging my video games and came to the sad realization that I own over 2,000 video games. Trust me, this is not a humble brag. It's merely a sad realization. And I guess I wanted to take the time and give you some tips and tricks for collecting video games. So let's get started. I received my first video game at the age of 7 when my parents bought us the Nintendo Entertainment System. Ever since then, I've been hooked. Over the years, I've accumulated games as gifts or when I could scrounge up enough cash. It wasn't until my early 20s that I started collecting video games as a hobby. Fortunately, I was on the front end of retro game collecting prior to its increased popularity over the last 10 years. That said, my collection spans a lot of systems, and over the years, things have changed quite a bit. Before mainstream eBay, collecting video games was awesome. While it was harder to find and acquire games, it was the Wild West. You could find a large cardboard box of NES games at a garage sale for something like $10. However, now, eBay and other internet retailers have spoiled the party for everyone. And lest anyone think this is a pointless hobby, video game values have skyrocketed over the last few decades. Assuming that the retro game market doesn't crash, collecting has become a sound investment. Let me throw out a few cautions. With the rise of internet retailing and auction, artificial demand has occurred. Trolls have essentially price-fixed game values and set the market in some cases. Therefore, you may need to check a variety of sources before determining a fair market value. Additionally, certain rare games are often faked with reproductions, so keep an eye out for that on those high-dollar games like Little Samson and Earthbound. So where are the best places to find retro video games these days? Garage sales are still a good place, however many will leverage eBay to set their prices. Flea markets and pawn shops are good go-tos as well. I found this copy of NCAA Football 2014 complete in box for $2 recently at a pawn shop. Given that it's the last version of NCAA college football, it's going around $40 to $50 on the internet. Peer-to-peer options are always good for buying and trading video games. Apps like LetGo, Facebook Marketplace, and Craigslist offer a variety of avenues for games as well. Goodwill is certainly a destination for me. The stores are good for periodic cherry picking, but their website is great. I've been able to score some pretty great stuff on there in recent months, such as the Miracle SNES piano. However, if you're wanting immediate gratification, then the best places to go for retro video games are retro video game stores or online marketplaces like eBay and Amazon. As I've collected games over the years, I've learned some hard lessons, such as buying games I already own and overpaying. Here are a few websites and mobile apps that can help you along the way. Collector is a mobile application that I've used for a while now just to simply categorize my video games. This allows for a quick scan in my phone to understand which games I own and which I do not. I don't trust the pricing in this app, and also, this app does not have every console, so keep that in mind. Two websites I rely on for pricing are Video Game Pricing Guide and Game Value Now. Both are great for assessing current values of video games, from loose, complete in box, to sealed in the box. If all else fails, you can always go on eBay and look at the expiring auctions or last purchase prices. When it comes to high-dollar games, it is important to protect your games. There are a number of quality cases out there. I have a brand new sealed copy of Wind Waker on the GameCube that I've put in this heavy-duty case. For loose games, I'd recommend these plastic sleeves or some dust covers to keep them clean. Also, if the game is sealed, you may want to consider having it appraised or graded if you have the intention of selling it someday. I'll leave some links below in the description related to all of these areas. While we're on the topic of expensive games, if your collection gets into the thousands of dollars, then you may want to consider bumping up your homeowner's insurance or getting a personal articles policy. This will protect your game collection from unforeseen damage or theft. One thing I do want to talk about is rarity versus demand. They are not always synonymous. Just because something is rare doesn't mean it is worth something to a collector. Yes, I know that Action 52 is a rare NES game. However, I have no desire to own it or play it. As a collector, you'll need to determine if the juice is worth the squeeze for a lot of these expensive, rare games. That being said, try to identify rare games that you like and want to play. Look up the total copies produced for various games. Is it a terrible 32X game that will only help you complete your collection? Or is it a fun 3DO game that just didn't receive a large release? In the meantime, it is also a good idea to keep tabs on the more expensive rare games because you never know when you'll find them and for how much. In the end, it all depends on what the game's value is to you. I will never pay full price for Little Samson. However, under the right circumstances, I may take a swing at buying a rare game like Felix the Cat. Educate yourself on the most rare and expensive games for various consoles because you never know. Things like the gray copy of Turok Rage Wars could be right around the corner if you only knew what to look for. Things like 3 versus 5 screw NES games and sealed, complete in box and loose pricing are great to understand when shopping for retro games. Condition will matter to collectors and resellers. Things like markers and stickers on the cartridge can decrease the value. However, cartridges are pretty resilient, so if you have some hand wipes, Windex, and Q-tips, a lot of these things can be brought back from the dead. You can also buff out discs for the most part if they're slightly scratched up. Also, know where the deals are. Certain consoles ladder up and down in pricing. Right now, PS2 and Xbox 360 games are very affordable right now, so if you're a collector, pick them up. Here are some final rules I've created for myself. Create a budget and governance for yourself. This way you will not get carried away. For example, I set a monthly amount that I would spend on games. This forced me to prioritize what I bought next. Otherwise, I was finding myself coming home every week with a bag full of games. I would buy something simply because it was a good price versus assessing if I would play it, if it was rare, if it would be likely to increase in value, and other reasons. Some have speculated that the loose cartridge retro game market will crash soon. Additionally, the market seems to be trending toward a sealed game future of collecting, similar to what happened with comic books. I have a few sealed games, but honestly, this isn't something I'm going to dive into. I'm a gamer, and I love playing these old games. Therefore, it isn't likely that I'll ever shell out $7,000 for a sealed copy of Kid Icarus. Recently, I've considered downsizing my collection, only holding on to the games I'm passionate about and will actually play from time to time. So my parting words are this: be honest with yourself. Understand what need you are fulfilling. Are you a treasure hunter trying to turn a profit? A retro gamer that loves nostalgia? Or a collector tracking down a full collection? Alright guys, that's it. Happy collecting, happy hunting, and happy selling. Speaking of which, anybody want, Mock Rider on the NES? Or how about good old Popeye?